think we are live, possibly headed that direction anyway. Oh, we'll wait a few seconds for people to start checking in. It's Monday evening here in Colorado. I'm looking at rain clouds outside, and hopefully we don't get any thunderstorms. Let me know when you guys are checking in, seeing where you're from, what you've been working on. Me, I've been working on getting ready for this class today. This little session today. Karen's checking in from the East Coast. Anna's from Texas. Heather from Queensland, Australia. Sandy, good to see you from California. Good to see some regular people on here. Arkansas from Kim. Kim's checking in. Excellent. Excellent. You're only there this week though, Kim, huh? I guess you're traveling, maybe on vacation. Pat's checking in from Oklahoma. I know, I can't believe the school year's starting. Everyone's posting. I mean, I grew up in Connecticut a long time ago. My birthday is at the end of the month of August, and we never went to school before my birthday. Never. I mean, it was always like the first week of September. Now kids are starting first day of August. That's crazy. Dea from New Jersey, Maryland from North Carolina, Lee, a few minutes from Western Australia, Christine, yes, I'm going to see you next month, Kathy from St. Louis, Dottie, I think I'm going to see you next month too, Kathy. Excellent. And Harriet, excellent. I'm glad you made it, Harriet. See, you brought your phone, you had your little alarm set up. Kim, you were in Wisconsin last few weeks visiting family. Oh, hello, Michelle. Glad you're checking in this time from Colorado. Let's see. UGG for school. We start after Labor Caribbean Day Pass. I'm not sure what that means. Do you start after Labor Day? I mean, that's unusual. Shirley's giving us a shout out from Disney. You're watching the live video and you're on vacation in the Disney area? Or do you live in Disney area? Interesting. I just love being able to check in from people all around. I just think that's kind of cool. So anyway, I know we don't. School's not starting here in Colorado yet. I think they give another week or so. But dang, that's just crazy. Having it start so early. I mean, you get out in June, you start back in August. What's summer vacation? I mean, I remember as a kid driving parents nuts for the month of August. I mean, that's like a rite of passage, isn't it? Can't send them back to school so fast. We need to rest and relax. Oh, my. How Angela's checking in from Katy, Texas, and Nancy from Indiana. Excellent. Okay. So, what are we going to talk about today? We're going to talk about drawing in StitchArtist. And those of you that have StitchArtist, hopefully you all belong to the StitchArtist Digitizing fans group. Or if you're thinking about getting StitchArtist, join the group, because there's lots of great tips and tricks that go on there. One of the things that was discussed this week was using dot-to-dot drawings and coloring book pages to help us learn how to draw. I can't draw, okay? I am going to be the first to admit it. I can trace relatively well, but I have no problem editing, and that's what's great about drawing with vectors in the Brilliance software. And the reason that there's two types of drawing. There's one, like if you ever have Microsoft Paint, where you have a paintbrush and you just basically, fill it in like a blob. That doesn't really work for digitizing embroidery designs, simply because in embroidery, when you're creating an embroidery design, you're creating a region, and that region has a whole bunch of properties. It has the underlay setting, the fill setting, the direction of the stitches, how far the stitches are apart, how far close they are together as far as density goes and stitch length. I mean, everything, and that's all set by a region. So I see Kathy, high five. We can't draw stick people. And one of the sisters is checking in. Excellent. I'm sure the other sister is babysitting grandkids. I had the sisters in Denver, and I've had the sisters in Florida. So if you ever get to meet the sisters, you are in for a treat. I love to teach classes when there's groups of people together that know each other already, because I know that they go back and they share the information amongst each other and learn what they're doing. So, but back to digitizing and drawing. Now let me copy and paste. First of all, there is a great video I did that breaks this all down step by step. And let me copy this, Command C, and I'm gonna go over here and put it as a Command V, and I hit Enter key. And now I'm going to turn off my phone because it's buzzing at me. And we're putting in airplane mode, and everything's off. Excellent, because we can't be having distractions here. Okay, so I put the link for drawing with points. And that one is, for those of you that are looking for a quick, non-interrupted how-to video on how to draw with points, that's the link you go to. I have to put that in here because I do these after hours videos. Monday night. I've worked all day. I work in Elbert. I work out of my house. I talk to the dogs. So when you guys are here and you're chatting with me here, this is like my social interaction for the week. So I'm sorry if I get a little chatty and we start talking and we digress on different things. That's not the learning. I mean, that's one way of learning. A social learning, because you bounce ideas off each other and everyone's reading the comments that go through here. That is one type of learning. Another type of learning is watching a video that's already been done. That is like short and sweet and poof to the point. So two types. So I posted the link to the cut and dirty draw with points video that's already on the Embrilliance YouTube channel. And so if that's what you're going for, there you go. This one, we're going to give it a little bit, we talk about the background information. So, and I found a dry erase marker. And those of you that make the, you have kids and you do the coloring book. Seven's Emporium has some great coloring book designs that you can draw. You stitch them on paper. Not paper. You stitch them on white fabric and in black outline drawing, and then you can use the fabric markers. Well, all I could find was fabric markers. I couldn't find my dry erase markers. So dry erase markers are great because I can write and then I can erase. But as I was saying, Linda wants to know if I've started yet. Well, I've been yakking. I'm not sure if I've gotten to the good stuff yet. But what I was saying, and we're going to try not to draw on a lap from now on. Let's see. You see that shape that's on my piece of paper here? This is what a digitizing software wants. It wants the wireframe because this is, this is what the software wants. This shape, this outline shape. It needs this because in your properties pane in the software, you assign a stitch type. So say we have a fill stitch and it's going to be filling this shape going left to right in this direction. So you set an angle, and that is determined by this boundary, this wireframe that's here. Now it has an angle. So the stitches are all going across. You can't have two different angles. You can't have two different colors in one object. If you want this one object to have two different colors, you need to draw one half circle like this. Where'd my little eraser guy go? So you create one that looks like this, and then, sorry, I don't have two different colors. I only have pink and red. One that goes like this. That's how you create a shape that has two different colors. This is how you digitize. So when each one of these has properties in it, so each one of those can have one color, one stitch type, one underlay setting, one whatever. And the way that these are drawn are called Bezier, or you can also draw them with splines, but we're going to talk about Beziers because it's the easiest way. And I say it's the easiest way to draw once you get over the hump of accepting, my name is Lisa Shaw and I can't draw. Once you get beyond that, this is the way to go. Okay. So let me erase this. when you're drawing these Bezier shapes, they're controlled by what we call nodes or control points. If you want to do Google search on vector drawing or Bezier drawing, lots of great information out there. Ignore the software that they're talking about. You want to just know about nodes and Bezier angles and connecting points and things like that. Okay, so when I say a connecting point, a node, that same circle right here, that half circle, let me just connect it from the bottom just so that you can see. Okay, so there's a half circle there. Each one of those, the dots, and that's what you draw with points, those are called nodes, and they're basically decision points. And we all know that in order for you to make a left turn, so you're walking down the street, and in order to turn left, 1 foot has to be on the ground. Okay? That's a node. 1 foot, at least 1 foot has to be on the ground. You can't turn with both feet up in the air. So think about it. When you're drawing something and you have a node, that's a decision point. So the needle has to be in the fabric. So when you draw this shape with, if you notice, I only have 3 nodes drawing this shape. There's control point. There's control angles on each one of these dots that give direction to the curve or the line in between the points. Okay, so this top one, I've drawn this shape with 3. This top one is what we call a curve, meaning that it's coming in at one angle and it's basically balanced and coming out the same angle. So it's like a teeter-totter. Okay, there's no angle. There's no change of direction that's really drastic. So we call these curves. This is a curve. And you'll notice when I'm going to show, we're going to go in the software in a minute. But when you look at one of those angles, it has this teeter-totter balancing thing on it. And when you select this dot on one side, it automatically changes the dot on this side because this is connected. Okay, so when you want a smooth curve, like this half circle or like an S, you want to use curves. Now this guy right here, this is what we call a cusp. Now I don't know if that's an or. It's just a cusp. That's all I called it. The angles that would be shown on this point right here, do you see how they change direction? One goes in one direction, one goes in the other direction. So if you think of a heart or a V shape or something that is, even if the V's are going in, okay, you know, like on, say, a funky leaf, and we're going to show that, okay? That point is a cusp, but the smooth, curvy part of the leaf, those are curves. Now, you don't want to draw this shape with a lot of nodes. Can you draw this same shape this way? Sure. But if you want, say you want to edit this and maybe make it taller, you have to move this node, whoopsie, this node and this node and this node on this side. You have to move them all up. To reshape this one, all you gotta do is grab that top one in the center and move it up. So do you see why you want to kind of accept that you can't draw and edit with fewer points if you can? Fewer is better. Now, either I've lost you all, or because I see Cheryl's checked in from Franklin and Joan has said, hey, checking in, and nothing else. So hopefully I haven't lost you. I just wanted this, understanding the difference in drawing and getting used to these Bezier angles on each side and how they work. Once you wrap your head around it, it will start making sense. Okay, you're taking it all in. Excellent. Thanks, Michelle. Okay, I know you guys are just all quiet and I talk a lot. It happens. It happens. So hopefully it's good background information. Okay, now let's switch over the software and we're going to talk about we'll go in the software. So let me go and switch this over. Bum, ba-dum, bum. Excellent. Everyone's saying it's making perfect sense. Yeah. Okay. And everyone here is hearing me fine. So I'm going to turn my sound level guy, get him off the screen. I'm just having, oh, we don't need that one there. Oh, you guess you guys can see my hot links. That's not really a good thing. Move that out of the way so you don't have to look at that. Okay, because we're paying attention. Nobody pays attention to the other stuff that's on the screen. You pay attention to what's over here in the software. Okay, so let me grab a sip here. I see Dea's still here. Anna's listening. Nancy's where in Delaware? I'm not, oh, because Nancy's from Delaware. You know, if you have people, you notice that someone is in your hometown, you might want to send them a message, because two heads are always better than one. I love teaching hands-on classes with two people together on one computer. That would be my dream class, having everyone like that. But it doesn't happen. So hold on one second. Here we have my design page, and I am in the Brilliant software. This is where we are in essentials mode. In order to get to drawing, we need to be into create mode. Okay, so I'm going to click on create designs. Now I'm going to work on level 2. And that's because I want to talk about drawing with Bezier as opposed to drawing with points, because that draw with points video is fabulous in learning how to edit. So let's bring in Shirley. If StitchArtist is blurry, it's because the connection, there's too many people watching, and I'm not going to kick anybody off. But what happens is if you wait till the end and you watch it again later, it comes in at full resolution because it's being recorded at high definition resolution. So sorry that it's a little blurry. It is what it is. And that's another reason why we watch YouTube videos, because you don't have to worry about Lisa's crazy internet. Okay, so, oh, hey, Lois, how are you? She's in Magnolia. Oh, Nancy, you and Lois. Oh, that's trouble. Trouble, you two guys get together. Oh, trouble. Too much fun together. Lois is a whiz on the computer, and oh, fabulous. Okay, we'll get back to this here. So I have my empty design page, and I need to bring in artwork. So I'm going to click on the image button, and I'm going to browse to where I have something on my computer. Now, what is that? This is this dot to dot. What's that one? Well, that's two different dot to dots. I brought this one in because this one kind of, I'm a flowery person. So this is from a website called, oh, I wrote it down. I'll have to get the link later. But they have a whole bunch of dot to dot drawings. So if you wanted to practice with that dot to dot, it's a great website for doing that. So here we go, making it larger so that we can actually see it on the screen. So even if it's blurry, you should be able to see it. All right, so I have my and Dea says, invite her, because she'll travel and meet you guys. 3 of you. Oh my God, trouble. Here we go. All right, so when you think of a dot to dot drawing, you're going from you're drawing with a pencil from one dot to the next dot. Now, would be using the draw with points. I'm going to gray out this a little bit just so that it's not so black and white. So while I have it selected on my screen, I'm going to use the transparency slider. So while I have this selected, this turns it into a little grayer. So it's not like in your face. So when you draw a dot to dot, you're basically connecting one dot to the next dot. And you have to kind of use your imagination as to how they're going to connect to each other. So let's just try left clicking and show you what happens when you just simply left click on this. So I'm going to click on my draw with points, left click, left click, left click, left click, left click. You guys get it, right? Boom, boom, boom. Now they connected this at the end, and I thought that was awesome. I loved it. And the reason why is because one of the things you need to get used to when you're drawing with points is that you don't connect this red point and this green point together. You want to stop drawing where there's a space in between it and let the software connect it together so that you don't end up doing that crossed gobbledygook, too many nodes in one spot. So the fact that they connected it for you was perfect, because at this point I'm done drawing left. I just did was left clicks, and I'm going to hit the enter key on my keyboard or the right click on my mouse, and that stops my drawing, and I can go up here to where this little red circle, hopefully, is it going to say? It says open and close outline. So I'm going to click on that button, and it automatically draws a line between number 1 and number 10 for me. Okay, now let's just turn this guy off completely. So I have him selected, and oh, actually, I don't even have to have him selected. I can just go up here and turn my picture off. This is a common issue because if you turn your picture off, you see no more image. But now when you see it over here, but you don't see it on the screen. So remember that this is a toggle. It's great for seeing that lovely stingray shape that we created, but you can easily turn it back on by clicking on the little picture frame again. Michelle calls this the tomato button. Oh, this is the tomato button. Yes, the little red circle thing. That's a great little analogy. It looks like a little tomato. This is a little picture frame button, and this just toggles your image back and forth because sometimes you have to see what you've done. Okay. Now, all I did was left click around on each one of those dots. So I created curved points around each one of them. Okay. Oh, Dea got the light bulb. Woohoo! Okay, what that means is that when I click on any, let me turn off my image again so we can see it. If I click on a node, do you see that there's my angles going on either side? And if I move that, do you see what's kind of happening? One side moves, the other side moves, and it's a teeter-totter. So it's balanced. So if we wanted this to be smooth and we wanted our flower to be more daisy-like as opposed to more pointed, because we don't have to do exactly what the drawing said. We just need to get a shape out there. But if we wanted it to be more balanced, all we have to do is click on each node, each handle, draw it out, and we can create our rounded points. Oh, the feed is cutting out. Well, like I said, it's all being recorded. It's because too many people are watching and I can't kick anybody off. We've got 61 people on here and yeah, nothing I can do, but it is what it is. Sorry, guys. I can stop and not come back. And I'm sure you don't want me to do that. So it will be recorded and you can catch up again later. Nothing I can do. That's internet in the country here. Okay. So when I click on a node and I have those balanced guys on it, if I wanted to say change this node to a cusp, meaning I wanted it to be pointed at this. So it would look more like a pointed thing. All I have to do is click on the node, right click on it, and choose cusp. This allows me to only adjust one at a time. Okay? So I can make one go in one direction and one going in the other, which makes a different type of shape. Okay? At this V point, I can make these guys really small in, which would sort of do the same thing. But the problem is sometimes, and I didn't do it, so it's not going to show. But what happens if you're not close enough when you're doing that, moving them close in to create a point, you create this thing. And you see that thing? That causes problems if you want to fill this shape with something else. Okay? Michelle is asking, is this StitchArtist 1? Drawing with points is StitchArtist 1. I have StitchArtist 2 up on the screen, but you can do this in StitchArtist 1. Okay? So be careful if you want to keep everything curved nodes, make sure you zoom in close so you don't make that little loopy thing on the end. You want to move in the handles so that they're really close together if that's what you want to do, because that will do the same thing as the cusp-ish type thing. But if you happen to make an accident and go like this, you make a loopy thing, and this causes problems, especially if you want to do a fill stitch or your underlay goes ka-thwonk. Everyone's seen that every so often. So one option, that's why I prefer changing the nodes themselves by right-clicking on them and choosing cusp, and that way I can change each one into its own side. Adjust my angles appropriately. And hopefully that kind of makes sense. Okay? Now, when you are So I highly encourage people to use those dot-to-dot drawings, okay? And even if you decided that, let me turn that image back on. Yeah, see, I use it as a guide and then I adjust afterwards. If you decide that this is a real simple drawing, some of them have a lot of dots in between them because it's not going to make the assumption that you will curve the shape around, okay? Some dot to dots will have a 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, so that it creates a dot to dot. Skip those, okay? So when you're drawing it, skip those. Now you can draw, and I started with that video. Let me delete this lovely shape I have here just by clicking the delete key. Now, if you want to draw this with points at each one of these ends, okay? So I'm going to use draw with points again. I'm going to left click on the number 1. I'm going to hold down the shift key on my keyboard, okay? And this is all in that video I told you I posted already on YouTube. I'm going to click on the shift key on keyboard, click on the number 2, click on the number 3, and I'm still holding the shift key down. And I'm just left clicking, and I'm just going to go this far, okay? I'm not going to click on the whole thing again. This time, when you have the nodes on here, when you put your mouse cursor on the line, do you see the little squiggly guy on it? This means I can actually move that line, and when you release it and look at your nodes, see one is going like this, and one you can adjust like this, okay? And this one, you can move these so that you can, this has set this point, this decision point as a cusp already by holding down the shift key, okay? So it's not really straight lines. If you wanted exact straight lines, you hold down the control key, okay? Shift key allows you to make Bezier cusp lines. So one side can be curved and the other side can be curved. And they go in, and that angle that you're moving, that I'm swinging around here, that's probably not coming through because my connection's really bad for some of you guys. And it's supposed to be, it should get better if you watch the replay. So I apologize. I apologize. When you swing your angle, the length of this, the size of it, this is what determines what the shape of the line goes in between the two of them. So you can really adjust your curves to do crazy things, okay? Yes, can you leave it as a straight line? Absolutely. Can you slightly curve it just a little bit? Absolutely, okay? Put your mouse cursor on the line so that your mouse has that arrow pointy and that squiggly guy on it. That means you can put your mouse on that, click, hold, and drag it. And now when you click on any node that you just dragged, now it shows where those angles are. Hopefully that makes sense. Now, what I wanted to show in StitchArtist 2 was how I drew something. This is, oh, actually, can we even see this design? Let me make sure it's dark. Can't even see the graphic behind this guy. Oh, that's because I turned the graphic off. See, when you turn the graphic off, doesn't matter what you put the transparency at. You just don't see anything. Oh, there we go. Okay, so let me hide my stitches. And let's zoom back in and sort of see it. This is the design that I created from a piece of artwork that I got from clipartopolis.com. Nancy said she watches my Monday night lives twice. Well, that's great because you catch things on the first and second time. That's what the beauty of videos are. You can't rewind me, but you can rewind me online. So, if you notice, there's my background graphic and there's my stitches on top of it. They don't really match, and that's because I basically use my drawing as a start and I go from there. This is how I create my designs. I use that as a guide and go from there. So I open up my graphic into my software in the same way. So I open up the image, click on image, browse on my computer to where it is, make sure that I select it and make it the size I want it to be so that I'm working on a good size. one of the things about digitizing is that you do want to work at the size that you're going to be stitching at it. I'm making it large so that we can see it better. Okay. So once I have my graphic this size, I'm going to, let's go back here. And I'm going to change that transparency down again, just like I did with the dot to dot, so it's not in our face, so that we can actually see what we're clicking on. So hopefully you guys can still see that-ish on the screen. And here we are. Now, drawing with points. That was this tool here, right in the very beginning. The one to the right of it, that is called the Bezier Drawing. And the way that this works is that you're creating the node and giving the line a direction as you draw it. At least so you know those angles that kind of appeared? We're going to actually draw the angle before the line is drawn. So let me zoom in on this leaf and let's see what we can, what we do here. Okay, so I'm going to focus on this little curvy guy right here. So I'm going to choose the Bezier drawing. That's this one here, draw with Bezier. Okay, I have that clicked. My mouse cursor still looks the same. And I'm going to left click and I put a node there. And nothing happened because I didn't give it an angle. Okay, so I did that wrong. Okay, because if I just kept this here, it's just going to be basically like drawing with points, except that it puts angles on it, but I'm not giving those angles any direction. So let me start again. I'm going to click on this node, left click, and I'm still left clicking. I'm holding it. Ooh, I think you can see the circle on it. So that means I'm still holding onto my mouse cursor. And I'm dragging my mouse up. And do you see that I have this angle attached to my mouse cursor so that it's kind of going with the line? You see that angle? It's kind of giving a direction to it. When I release my mouse cursor button, and I now left click again and hold, do you see how that line kind of curved? So that if I draw my line, it is drawing the other angle at the same time, and it's kind of fitting it really nice to that curve. And I haven't let go of my mouse button yet. So I'm going to let go of my mouse button, and look, that curve is already there. And if I put my mouse cursor, say right here, and I left click and hold, and I pull my angle down. You see how you can make it sort of fit easier with what you're working? Now, when we get to this bottom here, and I put this mouse cursor, I clicked before the corner just because I wanted to create that nice smooth curve. At this point, I want my angle to be going one direction, and I want the other angle to go in the other direction because that's a corner. So I need to make a cusp. So I'm going to still hold down my left mouse cursor and drag it, but I'm going to hold down the shift key on my keyboard at the same time, because this angle that's already drawn here, that's where the line's going to be heading now, until it gets to this left click where I'm holding my shift key down. That angle's in place, but you see I'm drawing the next angle, which I kind of want to go along the line of this part of the leaf here, this straight line here. Now I release my mouse button and that created this straight one. I'm still holding my shift key down because again, at this point, I want it to go in the other direction. So I'm going to left click and hold and drag my mouse cursor here, and my shift key is still being held. So, but I'm telling it that I want the line to go in this direction. So I'm going to release my mouse button and release my shift key, just because at this point I'm going to put a node over here, but I want it to be smooth. So I have both hands up. I'm going to put my mouse cursor on the line. I'm going to left click and hold and drag my mouse. I'm not holding anything. Release my mouse. Left click and hold and drag my mouse, kind of forcing my line to go where it's supposed to. And I'm going to get to this point here, and what am I going to do? I don't know. Left click. Eee, that did a crazy thing, but it is what it is. Left click and hold, release my mouse button. I have my shape, and I'm not going to close it because I'm going to click on the tomato button here, which is my close, and it's automatically going to draw that little shape. The only thing I really have to adjust, and that's because I went a little wild with my mouse, is this little spot right here. I don't have that many nodes in here. This is not too many nodes. This is okay, because say if I wanted to change the outside shape here, okay, all I have to do is adjust this one little node. I can move this up. I can maybe move this guy this way and this guy this way. I can change the shapes easier. Oh, see what happens when you put too many nodes in these crazy areas? Did you see that? This was my crazy mouse. See that little loopy guy here? That's not a good thing. So we got to fix that. So this one, and that's because this angle is way too long. And this angle is way too long. Whoop, where'd it go? Where'd you go, Mr. Node? There we go. Way too long. That's what happens when you do live videos, okay? Nice and easy. Zoom and easy. Okay, Dea wants to know, is this able to be done in level 1? No, this is not a stitch art. The Bezier drawing where I'm holding and dragging and that way, no. Draw with points, yes. Bezier is in level 2. Okay, so that's why I'm in level 2, because level 1 only has draw with points, and it does have the freehand, which is like using a pen. So up here, if you notice, my mouse is up where the freehand thing is. Okay. Karen says, ding, 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 the alarms are going off. Okay, so so this is kind of making sense. Okay, it does still take practice. Okay, and the only time that your artwork really needs to look exactly like what you're drawing is when it really needs to look like what someone has given you. Okay, this, you know, what mine looked like. It didn't look like anything like this. This was the artwork that I used, and this is from Clip Artopolis, and it was supposed to be a blue work design. I think if you go to their website and you search on red work or blue work flowers or something, I'll put the link in later like I did for the last one. I used it as a guide, and my final version, this is what it looks like. It sort of looked like this, but not really. This is what I was playing with. So I like to see things develop as they go, as I'm drawing on my design page. So hopefully that's kind of making sense. Turn on my graphic here. So drawing with the Bezier handles, ouch, 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 ouch. That's a level 2 function. That's this button here. And the whole key point is that you're not just clicking. When you're drawing with points, you're just left clicking and going through, and it's connecting automatically. Okay. When you're drawing with a Bezier, you're left click and holding, and you see my mouse cursor still held down, and you're drawing the angle, and that angle kind of tells you where the line is going to be going. Okay, the direction of the line. So if I move my mouse cursor up here and left click, you see how it started going down? Whoops, don't want to do that crossing of the thing. It keeps that angle of that point because it's already set that angle. And depending on where you put draw and pull the next angle, as soon as you release your mouse button, that's where it goes. Left clicks are curves. And if you hold down the shift key, there's my node. If you hold the shift key down when you left click, that changes the direction so that you can now make cusps. A cusp is changing the angle of direction. So at this node, that's a decision point. Think of a heart. And a heart has a cusp at the bottom and a cusp at the top. And the two on the sides are curves. Practice drawing a heart. Okay, using draw with points. It's really easy to create a heart with a circle because all you do is you draw the shape with the circle. This guy here, click, hold, and drag. Right click on it. Whoopsie, left click, right click on it and say convert to curve. And now if you go and select this node, which is out here at the top, and you say make this a cusp. Boom. 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 And take this one and right click and say make this a cusp and drag it down. Go boom and boom. That's a real easy way to make a heart. But try drawing it using your shift key as a cusp. So that would be This guy using either draw with points or with draw with Bezier, and put 2 cusps. So left click to curve, and I would start on this side here. So that's just so you get practice. So this would be I'll just do it with draw with points. So we're going to go left click all by itself, hold down the shift key and left click again. That puts that straight line there. We're going to need to have another cusp going in this direction. So we're going to go left click. Then we're going to go, actually this one should have been just a regular left click. And then, yeah, I got sidetracked here. And then what happens when Lisa gets sidetracked? I'm trying to read video comments at the same time, and I'm getting lost in here. Lori's glad I'm doing these videos. At least now you know you're not the only guys getting lost when you're trying to do something. I get sidetracked all the time. And Kathy says, someone on Facebook said using Bezier was the only way. Now you understand why. Yes, absolutely. You want Bezier and drawing with a wireframe so that you have fewer control points makes it so much easier to edit your design. Because when you have something that has 6 billion little points around it, and you'll see those. That's why someone says, oh, you need vector files. Well, when you're drawing your own vector files, that's what this little live is about. You want to use as few points as possible and edit as you go. Now, if you happen to, let me go through and I'm going to draw this inner leaf. If it is easier for you to left click and hold, drag, left click and hold, drag, left click and hold, drag. Whoopsie, this direction. You always want to keep dragging in the direction you're going. You don't want to drag backwards because that does the crazy thing. Hold the shift key down and we're going to drag down this way. Left click and hold, drag, no shift key, left click and hold, drag, no shift key, left click and hold, drag, no shift key, right click to end and close. If it's easier for you to draw with more nodes, perfect. But you can always go through and select a node and hit the delete key and then reshape it afterwards. You know, because you're thinking, oh, I don't need all those afterwards. And I actually didn't do too many of them. But you can always go through and delete them by clicking on them and hitting the delete key. Or if you need to add a node because for whatever reason you can't make this do what you want it to do, and it'd just be so much easier if you had a node there, just double click on the line. And now when you move, now you have a node. You can do it as you wish. Remember that you can right click on any node and change it from a cusp to a curve. Reshaping. Have fun, do your editing. Don't feel that your first time out of the gate drawing has to be perfect the first time. If you need some encouragement on that, you can go to my blog or my YouTube channel, which is youtube.com/sewbubbles, and watch the video on the monkey. Okay, you'll see that has no resemblance to a monkey until afterwards. Okay, I draw blobs all the time. It's okay. Okay, Anna says, in a graphics program that use Bezier, so this helps understand how it's done. Yes. Those that are used to using Bezier drawing and you have a Wacom tablet and you're used to doing that, just knowing how it works in StitchArtist usually can make the drawing a lot easier. You will get very fast. I'll just tell you that if you practice and you start putting those Beziers in as you're drawing them, because then you don't have to draw the angles as you go, especially if you're working from existing line art. This comes in, I use this a lot when I'm digitizing my fonts, because fonts have a lot of swirls and setting the angles. So that is a helpful tip. Laura's thanks for clarifying how to close the shape correctly. There's a couple different ways to close a shape, by the way, when you're drawing with points. And let's draw a lovely blob because we are just so good at it. Left click, left click, left click. When you get to this point, you always leave a space. You can either, as I did, right click to stop, or you want to stop drawing. Stop drawing is either right clicking or hitting the enter key on your keyboard. You can also go up, if you go up here to this the tomato button and you click on it, it automatically closes and stops drawing for you. Okay? Another option, especially if you're getting used to using these keyboard commands, when you are done left clicking, left, 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 even if you've created a lovely blob like this, if you hold down the control key and right click, it automatically closes it for you at the same time. So, hitting the tomato will close the shape for you and stop your drawing. I always get in the habit of making sure whenever I am using any of the tools here, any of the tools in my drawing tools, I always want to stop drawing. And sometimes stop drawing and closing at the same time, yeah, I get sloppy. So I stop drawing and then I close. So that's just a Lisa-ism. But just clicking on the tomato will stop drawing and close it at the same time if that's what you want to go for. Okay? You just have to remember that if you don't want it to close, like these squiggly lines I have here, I didn't want those closed. They're going to be running stitches or something. You can't click on the tomato. You can't click on the close, because if you did, while this guy's selected, it's going to connect the red and the green dot together. And that's not what you wanted. So you don't always want to do that. Now, when you have something selected and it closed on you, and now you don't have a red and a green, you only have a red dot. If you click on the tomato again, this red dot is where your curve is opened. So it closed it there. And if you want to get rid of this and make it go back to that one again, just double click on this and it goes back to that starting point where it was before. Double clicking on a node deletes it, selecting it, deleting it. There's so many tips and tricks, and my way isn't the only way. It's just my way, and you guys need to develop your way of doing it, and whatever works. This is all about getting from point A to point B as quickly and as painlessly as possible. If you've got a way that works for you, just keep on doing it, because that's awesome. That's just awesome, especially when something clicks and you figured it out and it's your way. Just run with it and learn something else, and maybe you'll come back and say, oh, maybe if I do it differently. We all learn tips and tricks as we go. Just don't beat yourself up. We all can draw, have our drawing skills. Practice does make perfect. It does get easier. Okay, we're not going to talk about how many times I drew this leaf on this screen before tonight's live, but I have to be able to draw it and explain what I'm doing, so that's why I needed all that practice. Leaves are a great thing to practice on. Hearts are a great thing to practice on. Play, have fun, stay out of trouble. Get into trouble, bring bail money. That's all I can say. All right, guys. If that's all the questions that we have, Karen said this was fantastic. She learned a lot more. Now you need to go draw. Yes, yes. Those coloring book pages were a great. Hold on. I have this guy here. The website is called RasingOurKids.com. And that's where this dot to dot guy came from. I knew I had it written down here somewhere. RasingOurKids.com. They've got some cute little ones there. If you just want to get into practice on clicking on them, especially with the cusps versus curves and holding down the shift key versus not holding down the shift key. That's a great place to, they have some great stuff. It's also great. They have some that are more, that have more numbers, as I mentioned, and you can practice skipping them because even though if between this 1 and this 2, if they had a whole bunch of numbers here, just to make that nice little curvy thing, you don't need to click on them. You can just click on the 1 and the 2 and then adjust your angles afterwards. Okay. Yes, Harriet, you're the one that, I knew you were the one that picked up that dot to dot. This is the website because I zoomed in on your little flamingo and found it here. RasingOurKids.com. Kim learned a lot tonight. Michelle, thank you. It was great. Learned a lot. Fabulous. I see the clouds are rolling in. We're coming into Colorado thunderstorm now. Oh, there's a gorgeous, I'm going to post a video. Not video of, I got a gorgeous rainbow right outside my window, but I'm not going to turn this around because then mix this. But I'll go upstairs and grab a picture. But that's a perfect ending to our live video outside. Nice rainbow going over the neighbor's house. Ooh, very excited. Okay. Thanks for spending some time with me today. I had a great time. I know this is, time is valuable. So I really appreciate you guys spending time with me today. And that's all I got. I am done. So take care, have fun, stay out of trouble, bring bail money. I'll catch you guys. Oh, next week, I'm not doing it Monday because I am visiting family in Connecticut. So watch my business page, which is facebook.com/sewbubbles, and you'll find when I do the link. I don't I don't know. It won't be Monday. I don't know what day it'll be, but it won't be Monday. So take care. Have fun. Take care, guys.